narahuje begegege Burundi twari twarasesejwe intwaro z'abatoro mwaratwanye muratsinda urugamba rwo kugarukanira demokarasi yacu twari twaranyasuye.
The years of 60s, there have been repetitive hostilities between the two major ethnic groups, Bahutu and Batutsi. And this division was brought by the colonizers, because before the coming of the colonizers, actually we were living in harmony as one people. But thereafter they came with the ideology of dividing hair. So it becomes equal to us. And from the 60s years, at every time, Bahutu and Batutsi were killing each other. We had no aspects of peace. The hostilities were repetitive and repetitive. It is until in 1992 that the government of then, after seeing that indeed these differences between Bahutu and Batutsi was the challenge, they said it's better and we have a common agreement of living in harmony as Burundians. It was a national committee which sat, so decided, nominated, they sat, they tried to identify all causes or roots of differences that bring us to divisions and hostilities. Thereafter, they came up with a common agreement that from then we decide, we swear that Burundians have to live in harmony, we have to kick out divisions. It's how come then this was a symbol of bundles, as a bundle of sticks with one rope tightening these sticks to mean you can never break down a bundle of sticks when they are tied together. So as you break those sticks, you have to remove the rope, take one by one, and you break. So this shows that we Burundians, we have decided to remain united, to remain one as a bundle of sticks. Together we can. Together we stand, but divided we fall down. That is it.
Niwibagira ibihe bibi by'amagume n'amarushanwa waciyemwo ntuzewe irya myaka yose wamaze kurwanira igihugu. Niwibagira imibu n'igikonyo zica amajoro warararubububunda imibarwa yose.
Burundi, the country. This is what the slogan of the king. God, the king, and the country. Meaning, God is the source of all activities we do. God has to have the first place. But him said, no, what we need is an effect and immediate independence. And he was assassinated by colonizers. So this Prince Rwagasore was a symbol of social cohesion. He was a symbol of unity. And he was promoting cooperative associations so that our people, our Burundians, get developed. Indeed, he was a true son of Africa because he was motivated by social cohesion, social unity, and development of the country, based on cooperative association. Yeah. He gave himself all so that Africans, so that Burundians really be liberated from this yoke of colonizers. And to make things worse, not only was he assassinated, but also colonizers tried and killed all his kids, all his children, so that they put an end to his descendants. But the legacy of his is still living. As you know, the heroes do not die. The heroes rest in power. So we are now living the legacy of togetherness, the legacy of unity, the legacy of fighting against tribalism. The hero never dies. The hero always rests in power. he gave himself on to help and train men, women, boys to just embrace this holy struggle we had of liberating Burundians. So, Shimi Manado, as a general, he is still alive because we're still living his legacy. And this place, it is a place named as Iwabu Abasiga. To me, this is the place of those who remained, those who were not perished in the Bush War. He said, let me name this place Iwabu Abasiga. To me, this place is said to those who remained, who survived. So all those fighters who survived, they always can have a silver, have some
veterans club.
Yes,
sort of.
yeah, we call it a veterans club in memory of the struggle we had. That is it. And he's laying nearby his club. He is the one who constructed by himself this club.
Okay.
Yes. So we're waiting for what's his name?
What's his name again?
His name is Adolf.
kwibuka iyo twahuye gutyo twubake kazoza keza ntiwibagirayo twe bene gihugu twahitiyemwo nuzewe tutagira uburenganzira twari twaracumukuye tutagirayo ducira nayo tumira turicwa turangazwa ducika ibicibwa mu catuvyaye tubure ko na ruguru tubura iyo tuva tubura iyo tuja tutagira nayitabara abo dukingiye nibo batwiraramwo batema batongora bagera ku mboneza twari twitoreye barakindagura babakurikiza kw'abandi batagira ingano na nyarucarati bagiwe yo ni abagabo b'injyamunyu mwaca mufata icemezo co guhangana n'izo ngorane maze mugarukira Uburundi nimwigeze mutegegegezura ku gikorwa mwiyemeje kurangura ku gikorwa mwiyemeje kurangura mwarakoze turashima murakutse ikibi mwaradusubije agateka kacu demokarasi mu Burundi ubiraganje
Several hostilities from 60s up to 1993, where the first president, the democratically elected, was assassinated. His Excellency Mihunda Daye was the one who came up with democratic thoughts in 1992, where his political party, Codebu, was accepted to be registered as another political party because this country had known the regime of unique political party called Ikona. And indeed, we had underwent several crises based on ethnicity, divisionism, and whatever. And he came to teach people democracy, that people have to be ruled by leaders who are elected by the people. But you know, the army, the national army, was mono-ethnic, and these people were not trained to the rule of law, because the regimes that this country did undergo were only regimes come through a military coup. It's only in 1993 whereby Burundians were to rejoice in democratic rule. And only after 3 months of power, he was assassinated. he was killed together with the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Deputy of the Speaker of the National Assembly. And many ministers, some ministers were killed.
In the aircraft?
Yeah, they were just killed where they were living. For example, the president was living on that side. You see that old house. It was bombed and he was taken. And he was brought to the military camp. And he was assassinated in the military camp here in the city of Zimbabwe by the army, which was supposed to protect institutions of the country. They're the ones who came and killed the president and his collaborators, starting by ministers, governors, members of parliament, and many people were killed in that crisis. And he is now resting peace here, together with other dignitaries that was killed, ministers, governors. So this site is a site where he is laying, and he is a hero of democracy. And as I said, ideology of Cndd also is based on the thoughts of His Excellency who fought for democracy. Because Cndd, after the killing of Ndadaye, people said enough is enough. All the people across the country stood as one people. They said enough is enough. What happened in those old days will not happen again. They took stones, they took trees, they took all they had to take so that they stand for democracy. It's how then came to be. That is it. And we praise the Lord because since Cndd took power in 2005, from that time, institutions of the country, they last. They finish their term. Other institutions are elected. We continue. And they tried, the enemies of democracy tried in 2015 to do a coup. They attempted a coup, but they failed. Because today, all Burundians are mature enough. They have said, we still remember our hardships of the past. We know where we are, where we head. We have to plan so that the future be better of our generations, our descendants. So, Cndd has done a very big milestone as far as democracy is concerned, because now
by'amaguma n'amarusho waciye mu ntuzewe irya myaka yose wamaze wari watanze ubuzima ntiwibagire imibuni igikonyo zica amajoro warara rubunda imibarwa y'abo bose wamaze utubitse umukanda mu nda ibyagutumye utegegegezura ku gikorwa wiyemeje kurandura kugikorwa wiyemeje kurangura kugikorwa wiyemeje Burundi twari twaraseserejwe n'intwaro z'agahotoro mwararwanye muratsinda urugamba
for this cooperative association here, they have been selected and they have been certified as those who multiply the selected seeds. Yeah, and as you know, for modern agriculture, we have to use those selected seeds.
Yeah.
So they are among those who have been certified. Yeah, for that.
baca baza kugura resonance ngaho iwacu tuza kubereka centre cyane cyane turi kubabwirizamo amashitsi.
And the surroundings,
Kanira demokrasi yacu twari twarageze
communities are just keeping these rough races on the house. So this center has been generated so that it improves the improved races of the pox, so that the population in it will benefit from this.
Expand them.
Yes, and expand. Yes.
hajya naho hajya dushaka kubaka etable naho nyine tuzane inka z'amaraso ya miliyoni hajya haruguru naco tuhashira kurayi niyo vision yacu dufite.
And that site has been reserved for keeping the cattle of corn cows, improved cows, and that other side has been reserved for hens. Yeah.
Hajya naho hariyo centre
centre communale baje kugira projet yo kudandaza imiti y'ibi bitungwa n'ibiterwa kugira ngo aba nabo nibaronka ibiterwa bashobore kuronka baza bararonka imiti kugira ngo izingiro cyangwa ibiterwa ntibize biragwatwa twabahaye.
So as you know, to think of this kind of project of farming and livestock, you have to have pharmaceuticals. That's why that building you see there has been reserved for pharmaceuticals that will be using to just do some livestock farming. That is it. And it will be very easy for the population to benefit from those pharmaceuticals without just doing long distances from there to the center or whatever. To be just benefiting.
umwami amaze kuza ngaha biyumvira ingene bomunyegeza baca bamunyegeza mu kigega c'amasaka.
So when the king fled here, they look a way to hide him. So they hide him
In a sorghum.
Yeah, in a sorghum container.
Container, yeah.
So that no one can recognize him here.
Abasi baraza babaza umutama yitwa Nyabidaha yamunyegeje arabahakanira.
So they asked an old man who has hidden him. He refused that he never saw him.
Abahakanira baci baduguye umusozi bagenda mu ntara ya Ruyigi.
So the white guys continued the way through these mountains until the province of Ruyigi.
Mu nyuma haje ingabo z'umwami zibaza wa mutama zimubajije asubira guhakana guko uwo mutama ntiyamenya abasi ngo amenye n'abakunzi.
So it was quite confusing for that old man to know who was on the right side or not. So, but he kept protecting the king and hiding him.
Mara umwami acava muri ico kigega ingabo zimubonye zitangura gutamba izindi zirira guko bari bazi ngo yarapfuye.
Okay, so when those white men had gone, the old man took him from that sorghum container, and the army that was occupying this place coming to look for at least his dead body or something, find him alive. So they start dancing, and others were crying because they could not believe their eyes that he's still alive.
Umwami acabwira ingabo ati nimwubake ngaha izindi ngabo aza kuzituma inka zibiri kugira ashimire wa mutama yamunyegeza.
Okay, so he told the army, the king told the army to build a house here and he sent other troops to go look for 2 cows that will serve as a gift for that old man who has hidden him.
izo nka zibiri rero barazizanye baca barazikerera baraziga inyama inshato z'izo nka baca bazikanisha ingoma zikaba zimaze imyaka irenga 100 zavuga ku munsi mukuru bita umuganuro.
Okay, so when those 2 cows were brought by those troops, the soldiers, they ate the meat and the skin of those cows were served to build the first drums. And those drums were special because for 100 years they were used in a national ceremony of traditional ceremony of launching activities, agriculture, where he was blessing seeds and everything.
Tuca tuza kuraba izo ngoma zavuga ku muganuro.
You're gonna show us those drums.
Urushato rw'imfizi bita ruciteme, urunago rwa rushato rw'inyana bita murimigwa.
So this was those first drums I was talking about.
Yeah.
This was a male cow and there was a female one.
Male cow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The
beef.
skin.
It was a beef. Yeah, the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nizo zavuga ku muganuro ku mwami Mwezi Gisabo.
So these 2 were being beaten on that special occasion. That traditional ceremony I told you about, called Umuganuro, and these 2 were being beaten.
Haba ari mwijoro mu kwezi kwa12.
That ceremony was taking place in December, and the ceremony was taking place at night.
Uwo muganuro ico wasigura umwami yabarira abanyagihugu ati sohora amasuka muze kurima wari munsi mukuru ahezagira imbuto.
Yeah, and that part, that ceremony, as I said, it was a special event, a national event, to tell all the citizens to take out their hoes, because they were using hoes to cultivate, and he was blessing the seeds. All the country, he was blessing the seeds to be planted.
Sangi ihagaze ngaha.
Okay. This was the king house where he was living. That was a palace. So there were 2 guards standing, one here and another one there.
Afise icumu n'inkinzo.
And they had a spear and a helmet. That's protection. Yeah.
Nibo bagutegeka gukoma amashi kugira winjire mu ngoro y'umwami.
So they were clapping hands when you want to enter the house, to go in, as a sign of asking for permission.
All respect.
All respect. So, kwinjira umuntu arashobora kwinjira. In this compound. It's not an illustration. This
Umwami
happened.
yavyagira ngaha.
The king was sitting here on this small chair,
Umwami kazi ngaha.
and the queen there.
Umuganwa mukuru yaje aha.
The prince
Umuganwa mutoyi yavyagira.
and the small prince there. Yeah, beautiful. And this is real. It's not an illustration.
Are you
This
saying
is real.
did you reconstruct this or is
No,
there-
it was there.
It was there.
Yeah.
It has lived over
Over
that period.
this, yes.
In actual words, in other words, you are saying the king and the queen actually stayed in this room.
I'm sorry, you're free.
Yeah.
Tis
With
real.
this same chair.
How old is this?
Imaze imyaka ingahe?
Niyo kuva 1903.
From 1903. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
renovations or what?
No. Muragira amarenovation.
Ego inyuma buri
Yeah.
mwaka
Yeah,
tuza turasubiramo.
outside they do it. They protect the roof and everything. But the actual inside is this. The pillar are same. Okay, you may see it's very old.
How sacred are these?
The seats.
Yeah.
They're
How
very
sacred?
They are very sacred. They cannot even taken outside.
Nobody can sit there.
No.
Agomba
nta n'umwe bari kwicara.
yego nta na kimwe.
Ah, okay. For special guests, they
Umwami
say you
yabyagira
can
aha.
sit. Yeah,
Yeah, so you can allow me to sit.
of course. Okay, I'll hold this for you. And then
Maybe you want to sit here.
Yeah, I
No
agree.
problem. It's okay. No problem.
Sorry.
And the Chirwa, you sit next and maybe
the chief prince.
With honor. Show respect.
Okay. So, you know.
The worst.
Good. I cannot be the small prince. I cannot. This was one of the clothes of late King Mwezigisabo.
okay. It's made.
Byakoreshejwe
There was
ibwami.
the utensils and everything they were using. Yeah.
In modern language, this was a cupboard
This was
of the old days.
I'm telling you.
Aha ni kwa kiranga uwabwira umwami bizomushikira byose. Nk'umuganga w'umwami.
Was
So
a god.
there was it's a case of the intercessor Kiranga, who was like connecting the king to God, and who was also predicting the future. Or just to listen to people, how people are talking about him, because they could not see him from outside, and you see it's near the big entrance, so you can understand here what people are saying, gossiping about him.
Ama bakaza kumusigira amavuta hari.
Okay, they were doing it in phases. First came the queen, and she was washed by 4 women of the court, and then they were taking her in the house to put her lotion or jelly. I don't know what they were putting. Bamusigiki?
Amavuta
Yinka.
y'inka.
Yeah. So
Oil.
yeah, oil, but from butter from cow milk.
Hama umwami nawene baramwoza nawene bakamujana hariya.
And the king also was washed here, and he was taken to the house.
Carazira umuntu araba umwami kaza ari karoga cyangwa umwami baca bagutema bakakwicisha ingangura.
So if they ever see you watching the queen being washed, they were killing you immediately. It's forbidden.
Hariya mubona utwatsi naho umwami yaja kwituma nta mwami w'u Burundi yigera yituma mu kinogo yaja kutwatsi bagaca bafuka bagaca bayora yitumye mu kinogo yabakwegeye abarundi n'abarundi kazi igihugu nticasubira kumera bacamenya ati uno umwami yadukwegeye agiye kwituma mu kinogo.
Okay. That place there. You see, there are some. Those grass. Doing that on those grasses. So they were taking that grass. Which way, Janahe?
Iyo bajana ntumbaze baraterura bagatwara mbwa carazira kwa naho yaba umwami kazi nyaja mu kinogo baca bafuka.
So they were taking those grass and they were hiding them somewhere. It was forbidden for the king or the queen to do the toilet in the ground, or they do this because it was said that if the king or the queen does that, the whole soil of Burundi will be not fertile.
Rumwe yanyegeza umwami mu kigega c'amasaka.
Okay.
Antime
So he was he was the chief of drummers. Yeah. So, and there was he was the successor of the first who created the drum beating, and he's related to the first man who hit the king that we told you about when he was fleeing this region.
Africa. Ewe warondeke ogocheza togoto ya maboko. Omotema n'obutima.
without framing, these spirits of